Aloha Pa, the Baha'i greeting to all the people of the planet. Whoever is seeking to know the truth that's relevant and useful to all the people. Today is 26th. Time is about 11:14. And as I promised last night, I'm going to continue on this subject of the teaching to finalize this session. Previously, I explained to you that through the spiritual actions, the spiritual deed, we will gain spiritual qualities. And Baha'i revelation, Baha'ullah, His Holiness, Divine Majesty, has brought us new ways, like a highway through which majority of us, most of us, can easily gain those access to those spiritual quality. And I explained, one of them is teaching the Baha'i faith, which the non-Baha'is, they don't know what that is. Or pioneering, or unity. If you have listened to these videos, all the 54, and this is the 55th of them, if you listen to those and have understood, and you know who I am, what I'm saying, and I agree with what I'm saying, then you should understand that under the banner of the universal laws of justice and the present phase of the Baha'i administration, we cannot start mass teaching. Because as the number increases, it's just like the radioactive elements. It starts to become unstable, vulnerable. Thousands of unanswered questions, they come about. Chiefly, why the women are not elected in the Universal House of Guardianships, in the Universal House of Justice. That is why God has ordered me, Baha'u'llah has ordered me, to do this institution of guardianship, Universal House of Guardianship, to be side by side with the Universal House of Justice, so that if we teach the Baha'is and the number of Baha'is becomes bigger, they have answer to the questions. And as the responsibility of the Baha'i administration is to regulate it, to coordinate it, to channelize it, just like the rivers, so the water can flow through it. But all of these, including the Universal House of Guardianship, as I said, is the will of Baha'u'llah, the part of the Baha'i faith. And all of it is not the goal of the Baha'i faith. Many times Shaykh Effendi has emphasized that this is nothing but a means, a tools. It's a ship that the passenger and the cargo is the Baha'i faith. This is just a carrier, basically. So it's not a goal, it's just a means. And this is what Baha'u'llah wants. However, I want something else. I'm after something else, myself, personally. I'm looking to go for the goal, not so much for the means, which is the Universal House of Guardianship. To me, that is not as important. It is, but it's not really my forte, let's say, to think about it very much. However, I like to get on something bigger, and I want to go to goal. I like to start mass teaching. This is about the biggest things that can happen in the Baha'i faith. Through this, if anybody starts into the mass teaching, oh my God, it's like a turbocharge. These participating in these actions, we can gain a spiritual quality so fast that I can guarantee you, you will visit Baha'u'llah himself in your vision, in your dream. And I'm serious about that. What's my wish, what's my goal, what I like to do, which I'm very disappointed at this point of time that can ever be done, is to bring Baha'i faith to Canada. Canadians are so ready for it. North American, but mostly Canadian. Ever since I came to Canada in 27 years, day and night I've been thinking about this. And I've created a plan. I've engaged myself into the teaching, as I told you in these stories, before I told you what it is. And how it should be done. So today, I have a request. I'm appealing to everyone in the planet, whoever listens to me. So-called, registered Baha'is, or all the Canadians, all the North Americans, all the people of the earth. If they like to participate, cooperate, and help me out, I have a huge plan. I believe the time is there. All the elements are there. We can bring the entire country of Canada, majority of it, most of it, into the Baha'i faith because Canadians are ready. However, this is not the plan of God. Plan of God is Baha'i faith. Final episode of it was the Universal Laws of Guardianship, brought it up. He has left the rest to us. If he does it himself, then there's no room for us to grow. We're like an apprentice. Now we have learned what he says. Now this is the assignment. That if we want to grow spiritually, prove ourselves, have that spiritual power when we die in the next life, at the next level of existence, this is the time. If you help me, I can do it. Mass teaching is much different from the teaching individually one by one as we do. Baha'i faith itself, I've explained many times, is a revelation of whoever has created this planet, this universe. And there is great affinity between both of them. There are so many unanswered areas. There are so many raw materials in the nature that we have to discover, out of which we build this house. We discover medicine. We make an airplane, the camera. All the civilizations is coming from the nature. The laws and the rules, all of it is in the nature. What we do, we reconstruct it. The same thing has to be done in the Baha'i faith. Baha'i faith as it is like prairie, it's like a mountain range. It's a beautiful space. It's like those planets. It's like rivers, it's like jungles. It's so natural, so beautiful. When it's presented to people, it has a sense of romanticism. They say it's so beautiful, but can there be a world in where people all understand this? Because today in the country, Canada, people are much more practical. They have other things to do in their life, and they look at the Baha'i faith, they like it, they appreciate it, they agree with it, but at the same time, they cannot make it to be a part of their life. This is why we have to reconstruct it, present it. And that presentation is why I made all these videos to you. It's a reconstruction for all the people of the world. When they listen to these things, it will be the Baha'i faith reconstructed today. Maybe 50 years from now, 100 years from now, the whole thing will collapse. Some other ways have to come down to reconstruct it again. For people, when you talk about Baha'i faith as it is, when you give them the Book of Certitude or some answered questions, it's like a hobby. And they say, well, it's not kind of our hobby, or we have no time for it. Some they say there's no need in these things. Some people, they think even can cause problem in the society. They just don't understand it. They shy even to feel shame to connect themselves to the religion because they're so much attached to this word religion. And it has to be represented, reconstructed, as I said. I put the Baha'i faith under the microscopes further, and I call that mass production plan in Canada, and I call that Canadianism. Now, Canadianism, which is a study of Canada, it's a practical Baha'i faith. I explained before, there has been two movements at around 1844, if we look at it. One was the plan of God, Baha'i faith. It was revealed in 1844 in Iran and continued till 1957, when Shoghi Effendi ascended, through the four authors, the Bab, Baha'ullah, Abdul Baha, and Shoghi Effendi. And around same times, earlier than that, people of Europe, chiefly English people, they came and they made Canada, United States, Australia. In Canada, they started to build an actual country. And when you look at it, at one point, Baha'i faith, while it's revealed, and Canada, while it's built, there's so much affinity they have together. It just seems like one has to just be installed on the top of the other, and then the country comes alive. They're like the body and the soul. The soul, the spirit of Canada is Baha'i faith. So much it is like it. Most of the principles of the Baha'i faith is already formulated in Canada by the non-Baha'is, those who didn't know that Baha'i faith. God has guided English people to build this country, it seems, in a different way, so that when the Baha'i faith comes, it's meeting ground. It's the first meeting of the Baha'i faith with the material world, in which the material philosophy and the divine philosophy go hand in hand. A material body will have to have a spiritual soul together. This is what I have understood. That it has to be done through an understanding of the Canadian. We have to use some kind of a catalyst for it. We cannot just take the people of Canada and tell them, this is the Baha'i faith. As I said, many objections comes. Just people say that, it's great, but it's not going to solve my mortgage problem. It doesn't solve the family problem I have in the house. Relationship with my children, with my friends, my depression. These are the things people, they have. But directly, you cannot apply the Baha'i faith to those problems. Just like the nature, you can't just apply a piece of the nature and tell to the person, okay, you're sick and you have to do this and you have to do that. Although, called homeopathy and things in the past has been done. But truly speaking, in the, this century, people have understood medicine and they made medicine out of the nature. That is the reconstruction of the nature. Discovering those things, and you give to people and you heal them.